Somebody who feels envious of you ends up befriending you.
One of the laws is, I think, the most important. It's basically make people dependent on you. You don't want to appeal to people's love, to the fact that they like you. You want to appeal to the fact that they need you. Because if they love you, love is a very tenuous emotion. In fact, it doesn't work very well in the work situation. It causes all kinds of problems. They'll get rid of you tomorrow, even though they like you. But if they need you, it's like pulling out all of these roots of a plant to get rid of you. It's going to cause all kinds of damage all over the place. They need you and they can't get rid of you. So you need to make sure that your position in a company, in life in general, you're the only person who can do that. Everybody feels envy. We don't like to admit it. And where it comes from is, it's the chimpanzee in us. You know, oftentimes in life, somebody will do kind of a surprisingly ugly, nasty turn to us. They'll sabotage our work. They'll say something ugly behind our back. They'll literally manipulate us in some way.
Anybody can have that level of power in their life.
You go around thinking everything is personal. Wow, that person was cold to me in that meeting. They don't like me. I don't like, something's wrong with her. You go around, everything is personal. Oh, why did he say that? Why is my mom telling me this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling you, it's not personal. That's the liberating fact. People are wrapped up in their own emotions, their own traumas. They're reliving things from their childhood. They get angry at you, but you're not really the trigger. The trigger is something that happened to them when they were 4 or 5 or 20 or whatever. So to realize that it's not personal, that people are acting out of their own dramas, their own traumas, their own emotional problems from way back, should kind of take all the burdens away from you. So you don't have to react and take things personally. It's extremely liberating to be rid of all of that emotional baggage that you assume from other people, thinking that they have something against you, or that they're reacting about, something personal. So that's the liberating aspect. But the thing is, we're social animals to the core. You wouldn't be here talking without all the billions of people who created language before you, without your education, without your parents, without your teachers. They have molded you. They have made you who you are. So we are not really individuals. We are built by other people by being social. We're kind of a conglomerate of all these other interactions of relationships. And so we're really generally kind of bad at this aspect of life because we don't understand other people. We assume that we take like a sort of a simple snapshot of people. They're nice, they're not nice, they're pleasant, they're not pleasant, they're smart or not smart. But people are infinitely complicated. They have a wealth of emotions. They're going through things that you're not even beginning to see. And if you can begin to pierce their mask and get inside their psychology and understand where they're coming from, suddenly the whole game changes. And what you say and how you act with them will change as well. And you will find your relationships are much more smoother. Your bonds with people will be much deeper. And you'll be able to deal with those ugly, toxic types that inevitably cross your path. Well, think of it this way. Let's say you want to make something in life. You want to start a business. You want to write a book. You want to create a podcast. It takes a lot of work. And that work isn't fun, right? It involves a lot of tedious detail. Mm-hmm. It involves dealing with people who aren't listening to you. They don't immediately respond to your idea. You have to deal with frustration. And you have to be disciplined. That's not fun. Right? And our default position in life is to always want things to be fun and easy, right? We take the path of least resistance. So when we're children, if we weren't educated, if we didn't have teachers or parents telling us to study, we'd be these monsters. I think it was the poet Coleridge that compared it to a garden that's never tended and it just turns into weeds. That's what children would become if there was nobody educating them. That's who we would become if there was nobody instilling in us a sense of discipline. So when you're working as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, developing a work ethic and discipline, you're actually tapping into what I call your higher nature. We admire the fact that great buildings were built, great bridges, and our cities are marvels of technology, and we have museums and all this. That was built by people who were masters at their field, who delved into who connected to this higher nature. They were disciplined. They worked hard. They put their energy into their work, not into getting attention and not into their ego. And so that is the higher nature that all of us have as the potential. And whenever you stop thinking about yourself and start putting your mind into your work, or put your mind into other people and their problems, you're tapping into that higher nature. I believe we humans naturally feel envy. Everybody feels envy. We don't like to admit it. And where it comes from is, it's the chimpanzee in us. It's been shown that primates are very attuned to other animals in their clan, and they're constantly comparing themselves. Who's the alpha chimp? Who has more than I have? We are, by our nature, the way our minds work, continually comparing ourselves to other people who, they have a better job, they're making more money, their book is selling more, etc. And that's the source of envy, right? I mean, that's deep underneath the source of envy. But that constant comparing to people, which is so endemic on social media, has the potential to be turned into something positive. It can turn into the desire to compete, and instead of envying what that other person has, to actually achieve it for yourself. Oftentimes in life, somebody will do kind of a surprisingly ugly, nasty turn to us. They'll sabotage our work. They'll say something ugly behind our back. They'll literally manipulate us in some way. And we'll get drawn into the emotions of that all, and we'll go, what a ass. Or, and we don't really understand where it came from. And most of the time where it does actually come from is envy.
Yeah.
And we can't unravel that knot because we didn't see it originally. I make the distinction between active and passive envy. Passive envy is what we feel every day naturally. As we look on Facebook and we see other people are having a great vacation, we go, God, their life is better than mine, damn it. We feel that every day and we need to admit it. It's very human. And we don't do it, doesn't lead to anything bad necessarily. Active envy can happen to anybody, but generally there are people who are envier types, and they're prone to feeling such strong envy that they act on it. They not only just sort of feel it, they give you a comment that is targeted to make you feel bad. And you'll start to internalize it. You go, maybe they're right. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Or you'll kind of attack them or whatever. But what you don't realize is that it comes from a place of envy. They actually envy you. And if you know that, you can prepare and make sure that you don't become friends with them. And you can also not take it so personally. You can see where it's really coming from. And people like that will tend to disguise it. They'll tend to disguise it as it's just their humor.
Right.
They're just a sarcastic type. Mm-hmm. Oh, you took it personally. Can't you take a joke?
Right.
But it doesn't come from just a jolly joie de vivre. It comes from, an ugly place, a place where they want to hurt you. And, we might say that, well, this is kind of minor stuff. But you let somebody like that around you a lot with their little barbs all the time, it gets under your skin, and it starts to weigh you down, and it kind of gives you some emotional baggage. That can be kind of toxic. And then there are people who do nasty things from a place of envy that can ruin your life for years.
The thing that we don't realize, though, that the people most likely to feel envy, first of all, we all feel envy. We're all comparing ourselves to other people. I feel it all the time. We all feel small degrees of envy. But there are people, I call it passive envy, but active envy means people act on it. They do something to hurt you. They sabotage you in some way. Frenemies are the classic scenario. So somebody who feels envious of you ends up befriending you. And consciously, they may not be even aware of that. They think, well, I do want to like them. But unconsciously, they feel envy. They think that you have success that you don't necessarily deserve, that you have what they want, right? They become your friend, and they charm you, et cetera, et cetera. And then lo and behold, you start noticing, all kinds of behavior that's very ugly that you weren't expecting because they're your friend. They start saying bitchy comments that get under your skin, that make you feel insecure. They take things from you. They act in ways that are hurtful. But because they're your friend, your first instinct is to blame yourself. Well, maybe it's my fault that they've done this. Maybe I'm actually to blame for what they're saying, et cetera, et cetera. So I believe behind the frenemies phenomenon is this phenomena of envy, where the person secretly wants what you have and they're becoming your friend so that they can wound you. And what's best to do is to recognize that. And one common sign of a frenemy, of somebody who's befriending you out of envy, is they're in a rush to be your friend. Normally, we like to take it a little bit slow. We just don't let anybody into our lives. We like to vet them a little bit beforehand, right? We don't trust everybody. But the person who feels envy is like, I love you. You're fantastic. I want to be your friend. We got to hang out. Let's go out for dinner the next night, et cetera, et cetera. They're in a hurry. That's a sign that something else is going on, because that's not natural. We've all had to deal with that. I've had to deal with that as well. You have success, and you came from a background where you weren't so successful, and your friends are still there, and they envy you, and they're not very nice to you. And it's not a good quality. And I understand the quality. I understand where it comes from. And I wrote about it in Human Nature, where we're all aware of the what we call Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude means you take pleasure in other people's pain. So you hear a friend didn't get the job that they wanted to get, and you go, "Oh, I'm sorry," but deep down inside, you're kind of happy. We all go through that, right? The opposite is Mitfreude. It's an expression that Nietzsche coined, which means you feel joy for other people. I like to try and cultivate some of the higher qualities in life. So if something good happens to somebody, my first thing is I might feel a twinge of envy, but then I go, it's great for them. I'm actually very happy. I'm excited. I share their joy in what has happened, right? But it's not natural. So when somebody that you know and you've known for a long time has success in life, your first thing is to be, they didn't deserve it. They kind of cheated their way to it. Okay, as we talked about in the very beginning, you confront that ugly emotion yourself and you go, that's not who I want to be. And you go, I'm going to make myself feel the opposite. I'm going to make myself feel happy for their success. So what people will go through in that sense is something in our nature that is hierarchical, that has deep roots in us. But I do believe in one form of equality. And that is everybody at their birth has the possibility for following the path that I talk about in Mastery, for being great, for fulfilling their destiny, for being the unique individual that they are at birth. So everybody is born with a DNA that will never be replicated in the past or in the future, right? There is a uniqueness about every person. And there's a uniqueness about your parents, about your background, about your early years, right? And that uniqueness is a seed that if you cultivate it and you use it and you know your purpose and you mine it for power, I do honestly, and I'm not faking, I do honestly believe that everyone has that potential. But it's not equal in the outcomes of that. There are a lot of people, the majority of people don't follow that path. But I do believe everybody has that potential. You don't have to be famous and successful. There are grades of this. There are degrees of it. Some people, it's just being a great parent. They're very social. They're very empathetic. And they're not maybe going to become an extremely successful finance person, but they're really good at raising their children, and they put a lot of effort and care into it. That's fantastic. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be Steve Jobs. There are levels of it, right? But the sense of this was what I was meant to accomplish, and I'm following it, and I'm happy what I do. I feel fulfilled by my work, and I can go on doing it. I take it seriously. I care about it. I do believe that anybody can have that level of power in their life. We're all individuals. We all have our unique energies. It's the fact that you engage, you love, that you're emotionally connected to it, that it gives you a sense of fulfillment, that you're not looking over your shoulder, oh, I could be doing this instead. I'm fine with that. It doesn't have to be the Steve Jobs who's continually dissatisfied, who's Faustian, who always has to have more. I'm not against that either. I don't know why we have to be so judgmental. If people are following the path and they are in love with what they do and they have a genuine connection to it, I'm not going to judge it because they're not famous or because they're not trying to be the greatest, the Michael Jordan of tiling or whatever, etc. I think it's fine. Why can't we have, that kind of diversity in our world?
You're able to look at the world. First of all, you're able to look at yourself and assess who you are and not be filled with all these illusions or these insecurities. This is who I am, realistically. This is my problems, my weaknesses, my strengths. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm destined to create. Your ability to look at other people realistically and see through their appearances, see through their masks. They pretend to be this, but they're actually that, and I'm not going to be fooled. I'm not going to be naive, and I'm not going to be fooled. I'm going to see into that. This is what the world is like right now. These are the trends. I'm not deceived by all the things in social media. I know what's going on and where the world is headed in 3 years. You've got this laser focus. You're seeing through yourself. You're seeing through other people. You're seeing through all the bullshit in the world. You understand what's happening. You can't fail when you have an attitude like that, right? And you also understand the power of being fearless and taking risks, which is also a part of a realistic attitude. All right, how do you get there, right? Well, it's not easy because we're born with a certain attitude. We're born with things, with burdens and baggage from our childhood, etc. It's like a daily process.
Yes.
Right? You have to see first your negative attitude, where it comes from, the problems with it, what is holding you back. And now you have the power to begin to fashion it to a degree that's going to actually be something strong and powerful. Well, this is what the book is designed for. So I've been covering this for 25 years. It's scattered across 6 books, right? In Master, I talk to you how to be realistic about your career. In Power, I tell you how to be realistic about the power games going on. In War, how to be strategic. Human nature, how to see into people. But it's all scattered, and it's hard to find the cohesive thread through all these different books. This book is going to bring it all together. It's going to help you. It's very laser focused, and I talk about it in the introduction, on crafting that hardcore realistic attitude about you, where you're headed in your career, the mistakes you're making, about people and their weaknesses and the power games they play, about what it takes to influence and persuade people on and on and on. And you're going to be doing it every day. Now, I know because I meditate every morning. I've been doing it for 11 years now. It's saved my life, I can honestly say. Every morning I sit on the pillows for 40 minutes now. I just focus on getting outside of myself. And I learn through this process that day by day by day by day, change occurs. It doesn't occur in a dramatic way. It doesn't occur like, wow, I'm different now. It almost occurs unconsciously. Things seep into you that you're not even aware of. This book is designed to get under your skin day by day by day by day. You're going to read it. It's going to make you think. You're going to go on to the next day. It's going to kind of strengthen that idea, come at it from another angle. And slowly it's going to get under your skin, and it's going to alter how you look at the world and alter your attitude. And then maybe you'll reread it in a year. That's what it's designed for.
For me, this is the exact type of book that is perfect for me, because it's hard for me to get through a full book, any type of book. But when I can go to one page every day and read something that's going to be powerful to help me improve and give me a tip, a strategy, an idea to improve something in my life, it's the perfect type of book. So make sure you guys get a few copies, the Daily Laws, because your friends are going to enjoy this, especially in a world where it's where for most people it's hard to stay focused long periods of time
Yeah.
and keep their attention on something for a week or weeks through an entire book sometimes. I don't want to generalize, but the millennials of the world, this might be a good book for them to get as a gift. So get this, and every day you'll get a page that'll give you some meditations on power, seduction, mastery, strategy, and human nature. It's going to help you improve your life. So make sure you guys check this out. Where are you spending the most time on social media right now?
I probably have become, I have somebody managing my TikTok account.
Yes. Got some good TikToks on there.
Yeah, I don't really spend a lot of time on it, but I have looked at it, and that's kind of a new frontier, and it's kind of exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah. And it's not natural to me, but I'm learning it.
Yes.
Because, I'm of that age where it's like TikTok. Well, I don't know, but I'm enthusiastic.
Yes.
I probably spend more time on Instagram, I have to admit.
And you're Robert Greene official on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've kind of gone off Facebook like a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
And I've never really been a big Twitterer.
Okay.
Although I do have a Twitter account.
Robert Greene there, but Robert Greene official, you're posting more on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have posts on Twitter as well. And then I have
Yes.
the TikTok stuff that's going on.
Is that just Robert Greene?
I don't know.
When they search your name, we'll find it there. We'll link it up all in the show notes as well so people can see it there. I want to ask you a question that I've asked you before a few times. This is your fourth or fifth time on now. And it's called the 3 Truths. And I have your previous ones here, so I'm curious if it's evolved or changed as you have maybe a different perspective on life now. So the question goes like this. Imagine it's your last day on earth many years away from now, and you continue to accomplish all of your goals and dreams. But for whatever reason, you've got to take all of your work with you, and it's your last day, and you have 3 final things you get to share with the world. These 3 lessons you would leave behind, or 3 truths you would share with people. And they wouldn't have access to your books or your work or this interview or any of your content. What would be those 3 truths that you would leave behind?
Whoa. Well, so recently I suffered a stroke like 3 years ago, came out of the blue. I was totally healthy, swimming, biking, doing everything, and now it's all taken away from me. So the first truth is, don't take anything for granted. Don't assume that what you have now is going to go on forever. It could be taken away from you tomorrow. And appreciate and love deeply what you have right now. It is an insane gift to be young. I wish I could go back to being young again, because that was the most fun time in my life, right? You're in your 20s, you're healthy, you're exciting, you're seducing, you're just having lots of fun. Well, it doesn't last. Well, appreciate it and soak up every second of it, because something like this could happen to you tomorrow, particularly with this COVID that we're all living through. So do not take the smallest thing for granted, because it could be taken away from you.
That's one.
Well, do not be afraid to face your own kind of weaknesses, right? And I'm speaking from experience, because you're asking me like what's happened recently, And I've had to come to terms with my own limitations, because I thought that I could do anything, right? And it's not just the physical limitation, it's the mental limitations. It's the frustrations that I have. It's the anger with myself. It's like, why can't I, is there something wrong with me that in my physical therapy I'm not able to strengthen my left arm, etc.? And I've been afraid, I think, to confront that and to see that I am my own enemy. I've probably gotten in the way of my own recovery by my attitude, by being impatient, by being in too much of a hurry, right? So I've had to step back, and I've had to see, I've had to have some humility. So that's sort of the lesson.
Okay. Yes.
I'm not as great as I thought I was, but I can work on that. Now that I know that my impatience is getting in my way, I'm going to work on that every day. So if at night I stumble or I drop something, I'm going to calm down. And I'm going through this kind of physical therapy now, which is actually trying to alter my attitude towards my own body. But I'm confronting my own limitations, and it can be at any age, and it's actually, helping me get through this kind of ordeal that I'm going through.
Wow. Okay.
3.
3.
I guess it's, I hope it doesn't sound too soft, like Robert Greene is not like the 48 Laws of Power anymore, because I am still that hardcore person.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. All right, I haven't lost my edge, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the ability to kind of forgive people.
Ooh.
So, and I'm not the most forgiving person. So I had a thing in mastery that's called suffer fools gladly. It's an expression from the Bible. And it means the world is always filled with foolish people, fools, who are stupid, who don't know what they're doing, etc. And your tendency is to get angry and irritated and upset. And instead you need to suffer them. You need to be tolerant towards them because there are too many of them in this world, right?
Sure.
And I've never been good at that, I've learned, like, when I'm judging people, etc., to sort of, it kind of goes to that other one, they're all interrelated. But, maybe I'm too quick to judge. Maybe I can understand their problem. Maybe if I've hired this researcher and they're not working out, maybe it's because I'm not explaining myself very well, or they've got other issues. And I'm not going to maybe try and repair the relationship or keep them on as a researcher, but I'm going to forgive them. I'm not going to carry the weight. I'm not going to carry them around with me. There's this old Buddhist kind of parafable where these 2 monks come up to a river, and there's this old woman who can't cross the river, and one of the monks, because they can kind of walk across, she's too old, one of the monks puts her on his shoulders and carries her across, and then lets her go, and she's so grateful. As they walk on, the other monk says, we're never supposed to do that. As Buddhists, you're not supposed to touch people. You're not supposed to handle them. You violated one of the most important laws of Buddhism. On and on and on. He went criticizing him and about it. Finally, the guy said, well, look, I left that woman on the other side of the river. You're still carrying her right now, right? You're still carrying her mentally with you. Let go, right? So I've created for myself a mantra in my daily meditation. It's called let go. Just let go of the rancor, let go of the hurts, let go of the past, and kind of forgive and kind of be in the moment.
How important is expressing emotions and feelings of the greats that you've studied or the people you've been around? Do they express their emotions and feelings publicly? Do they do it privately? Do they journal? Do they suppress their emotions and just act and just have a positive attitude all the time? What do you think is the importance or lack of importance of emotions?
Well, I think everybody's different, but in general, if my knowledge of psychology and all the books I've read is that you pay a price for repressing your emotions. That repressing something eventually comes out. And the great psychologist Carl Jung, he was the one who kind of studied that in great depth. When you repress, for instance, your dark side or your dark emotions, they come out in other ways, right? So trying to always present yourself as this very stoic person when in fact you're not, you're going to pay a price for it. It's going to come out in ways you can't control, right? There's going to be a negative consequences to that. And so, on the other hand, you don't want to be this person who's constantly emoting and telling everybody what you feel like. It's very irritating. You have no self-control, and people are judging you. You look like this weak person who can't control your own tongue. You can't control it. Okay? So I compare it in my books and in talks to the metaphor of the rider and the horse, right? So the rider of the horse is your rational brain. And the horse is your emotion. It's the animal part of you. It's what makes you angry or excited or fearful. The rider is what makes you kind of, get things done. If the rider on that horse, I don't know if people have ridden a horse, I used to ride a lot when I was a kid. If you hold the reins too tightly, if you're trying to control the horse and repress it, the horse feels it. It feels it in the way your thighs are constricting it. Horses are very sensitive animals, right? And it won't do anything. It won't follow any of your instructions. It won't go anywhere. Or it will freak out and it will run far away and it'll throw you off the horse. But if you just let the horse go anywhere, the horse also feels that. The horse has been tamed to some extent. Because this guy I have no respect for him, right? He's not trying to do anything. And the horse will go wherever it wants. You have no control. People who know how to ride horses, they know they have to have a balance. You have to hold the reins, not too tightly, but you have to be able to guide the horse. You have to squeeze with the thighs, but not too tightly. The horse, you have to feel relaxed and one with the horse. The horse then gives in, and you can go anywhere. So you want a balance in life. You want to be able to understand your emotions, right? You want to be able to understand why you're angry, why you're fearful, why you're frustrated, and not just give into the emotion, like let the horse go anywhere. So that maybe next time you understand, well, maybe I don't need to feel anger or fear because it's not really related to anything. So you have a balance. You understand the horse, the emotion, and you can control it to some degree, but not over control it or repress it. Because like I know if I get angry a lot, I could have anger issues, right? The moments where I give into it, I regret. I sent that angry email to my agent.
Oh man,
the next
it's
day,
the worst. You feel bad.
Yeah.
Do you apologize a lot after you're angry, or do you just kind of say, I'm just a grumpy old man now, just like...
Well, I am a grumpy old man, but yeah, I do apologize.
Oh, that's nice.
Apologies are good. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But I feel terrible, right? And so you have to go through a process like, before you send that email, why am I angry? Do your hindsight thing. Will I be feeling angry in 3 weeks? No. Is it really important? Is it possibly my own fault? When you go through that process, you're not repressing the anger. You're not pushing it down so then it explodes 3 days later when you yell at somebody who inadvertently crosses your path. That's what happens when you repress it. But you understand it and you let it work for you. You know, okay, I won't write that angry email. But then you can use your anger for other things like writing a book, right, et cetera, or believing in some social cause that's important, et cetera. So it's a balance.
I'm curious about 48 Laws of Power and Laws of Human Nature. This is probably going to be a hard question, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. What was your favorite law from the 48 Laws of Power pre-stroke? And what would you say is your favorite one now? And same for human nature. Favorite kind of law of human nature pre-stroke that you're like, this is the thing, I'm a season of my life that I really am connected to, and now something that you lean on or connect to in a different way?
Wow, that's a tough question.
It's hard, I get it. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah. Well,
first thing that comes to mind, maybe.
Well, for me, for the 48 Laws of Power, this will be kind of symmetrical. But law number 1 was always like the most important one to me. Never outshine the master. Because it was the first law. It was the first successful book I ever had. When I first pitched it to the man who produced the book, I told him the story that initiated the Never Outshine the Master. And I had personally violated that law on several occasions, and it caused me a lot of misery and pain in my life.
Why?
Why what?